Now we're going to download and configure SQLi Labs, which is hands down one of my favorites. SQLi Labs is created by a security researcher named Audi1 and is a collection of PHP files and a script to populate a MySQL database. The purpose of these labs is to hone your SQL injection skills both manually and automatically. We'll dig into these in more depth later, but for now, let's focus on getting it set up. All of the commands in this video are attached to this lab in a text file. First, we need to download the SQLi Labs remake for PHP 7, since that's what the Kali Linux 2018 VM has at the time of this recording. So go to this GitHub link that'll also be included with this lab as an attachment. Click Clone or Download. Download zip. Save file. Open up a terminal. Change directories to the Downloads folder. Unzip. Now recursively copy the folder into the web root. So cp-r, name of the folder for SQLi Labs, /var/www/html. Now we're going to create a new user in MySQL. We're doing this because the default root user will not populate the database as expected with the SQLi lab script. So first, let's start the service. Service MySQL start. Now we're going to log into MySQL as the root user, MySQL-u root-p. Type in the password. By default, it's TOOR in lowercase. Now use MySQL to start using MySQL. Now I'm going to paste a command to add a user named Jesse with a password of password. So you can change Jesse to whatever you want and password to whatever you want when you create your user. Enter. Now restart the MySQL service. Service MySQL restart. Now we're going to make some configuration changes to SQLi Labs. So let's go to var www html SQLi Labs master and SQL-connections. We want to modify the dbcreds.inc file. So I'm going to open that with vi. dbcreds.inc. We need to change the user from the default root and no password to the username and password we just created. In my case, it's Jesse and password. Save that. Now do service MySQL restart. Service Apache 2 start. This is to start the Apache service so we can access it through a web browser. Open up a browser. Go to localhost SQLi-labs-php7-master. Now click up Setup Reset Database for Labs. If your output looks like mine, it's good to go. Make sure that there's no errors. Now we need to set up MySQL logging, as we'll want to capture MySQL logs for analysis of what's occurring on the back end as a result of our SQL injections on the front end. Knowledge of how this works is important to understand. So I am in the etc mysql mariadb.conf.def directory. The file that we need to modify is the 50-server.cnf file. The two lines are right here. General log file. I'm going to leave it as default. And general log. All I'm doing is uncommenting these two lines, saving, and restarting the MySQL service. Service, MySQL restart. Now we need to make sure that logging is working properly. To do this, we need to execute a MySQL query so that a log is populated. Go to SQLi Labs, click SQLi Labs page 1 for basic challenges. We'll be using lesson 1 for this. Please input an ID as parameter with the numeric value. So question mark ID equals 1. This should execute a query in the back end. So make sure that we have the log as expected. So cd var log MySQL. The file is mysql.log, so tail mysql.log to get the end of the file. Good. We have select all from users where ID equals 1. That's the MySQL query that was executed as a result of our entry in the front end. So as you can see, everything is working properly and we're all done with the SQLi Labs setup. If you encounter any issues, please replay this video and make sure everything is configured properly. It's very easy to make a simple mistake during this configuration. We'll tackle these labs in following lectures, but for now, let's continue our setup.